right, yes, T.B.Photo X1.5 TFX, and welcome back to another video. Well, this is going to be a little bit of a continuation in my diving journey. Well, this time I'm not sitting here reading a book about diving per se. This is actually a work-related book or reading material that I was required to do for work, and it's CPR Adult for healthcare professionals. So it basically is we are going to do as healthcare professionals, we need to renew our CPR, knowledge and so on. So that's what I'm going to do in the near future with my work. But anyway, well, last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I was supposed to do my 2-day outdoor diving to obtain my certificate for CMAS, 1-star diver, and Drysuit course. But unfortunately, because of the weather, we're in the autumn period now, nonetheless. The instructor decided to scrub the Saturday excursion, and we moved it to Sunday instead. So that means we have 1 day left to do, and that's planned for the moment. That's going to be next Saturday. But all in all, a little bit, we did 3 dives in Tierp at a place called Troll Lake. And what is significant about this? Well, it's an artificial lake. What do you mean artificial? Well, it's actually it is actually a quarry, an old quarry that has been filled with water and made into a lake where people can bathe and so on during the summer months and so on. And it's also a popular diving spot because of the topographic nature of it, which is a part of which we were able to see for ourselves, because during one part of the lake from the beach, the artificial beach, it goes down the old access road down into the bottom of the quarry. We actually followed it, and what you can see is then first you have boulders on the left-hand side. There is boulders, and then it becomes a cliff wall. And on the right side of the access road we were diving, we had boulders. There was like a kind of makeshift fence, so that the trucks, when they were going down in the quarry in the old days, they wouldn't go over the side. But that's a little bit of the topography. Well, we did 3 dives. First one was just to get a little bit of a feel for it, so we didn't go lower than 7 meters, I believe it was. Yeah, and the second one was a little bit more of the same. Difference was we did some more exercises, emptying your mask, taking out the regulator, recover lost regulator, and so on. All of that good stuff. And what did we see? Well, unfortunately, since it's autumn, there wasn't really that much wildlife to see, or sea life, or lake life, whatever you want to call it, to be seen. But we actually, on the first dive, when we were going down the access road, I actually saw something black scurrying across the bottom of the lake, and I thought that doesn't look like a leaf. It moves in too much of a predicted path. It doesn't seem like it's swiveling around. It's going very, on a predetermined path, so to speak, and it went and almost hid under a rock. And it turned out it was a small black crayfish. Yeah, Swedish crayfish, or rather, I don't really know if it was that, because here's a little bit of a thing with when we humans meddle with nature and we plant in an invasive species. Sweden has been known for crayfish a little bit. We're very different from if you Southerners, if you down south in the US, New Orleans and so on. We don't have the type of your traditional crawfish boil. We do it quite differently here. But what we had our own native species of crayfish, and then in, I think it was the 60s or 70s, they started to plant in American crayfish, tomato, whatever, and they actually carried the crayfish plague, which almost wiped out the Swedish version. But that's just how when we are meddling with nature and it goes belly up. But anyway, we actually saw crayfish, so a little bit of life, so on. Also, second dive, we were all in dry suits, and mine started leaking. And it wasn't the typical type from the neck ring or any of the wrist rings or anything like that. No, it was actually from the inflate button. You have a button on the chest where you have a hose from the tank, the first stage on the tank that goes to the dry suit inlet. So you actually push a button on your chest and it will inflate the suit. And mine started to leak, which I noticed during the second dive, that every time I was filling air into the suit, I felt a cold sensation, but I just choked that up to, you know, the air from the tank expanding, and when the compressed air expands, it actually chills down and becomes colder. So I thought that was the premise, but unfortunately no, it was actually that the inflow valve most certainly was leaking. And yeah, so when the second dive was over, I was actually pretty much soaked. So it was just to climb onto a picnic bench and strip down and strip off the dry suit and all the clothes I had underneath. So yeah, luckily I had 3 sets of clothing with me. So fortunately, during the third dive, I became soaked yet again, started to freeze a little bit. But fortunately for me, I had enough spare sets of clothing so I could at least go home dry. That just meant that the next day, Monday, I was, you know, first available time in the laundry room, because I didn't want to get something that begins with mo and ends with old. Mold. Yeah, that mildew, mold. I didn't want that to be, because this wasn't pool water, remember? This was lake water. So a lot of, you can draw your own conclusions of the smell. Well, it wasn't that bad to be honest. But anyway, really interesting and really cool and cold day last weekend. And for anybody out there who is interested in taking up this hobby of scuba diving, if you have any type of interest in it, I would really, really recommend it. Well, one thing that I know about myself, thanks to this movie, that movie, I think I have a little bit of what is known as submechanophobia. And it's not really the classical versions of submechanophobia. I don't really feel bad about this. Or anything like this. But what actually gets me when it comes to submechanophobia is this. Yeah, these types of images are what really gives me the shudders. Bear in mind, it's not when I've done boat dives before. I think it was when I was in Malta 15 years ago. I think it was an old torpedo boat or something like that. And I didn't have the jitters then. I think it was because it was daytime, clear water, you could see it so well and so on. no problem at all. But these are actually a little bit that gives me the shivers. But anyway, yeah, I think that all has the explanation in that movie. But anyway, I think I can manage it, and just talking about it makes it a little bit easier, and I know that I'm far from alone with having it. But anyway, really interesting dive. The third one we also did was that we went out to a floating pontoon bridge, just a small segment, like one of those platforms that people can jump off, floating platform people can jump off of when they are bathing. And we just followed the mooring chain down to the bottom, so we were about 12-13 meters down. The reason we did that was because the computers we were using, the dive computers we were using, including mine, I was actually using two, my own Aqualung and also a Sunto Soup, I believe it was called. And the reason we used them was because we were planning to do a safety stop at 5 meters depth for 3 minutes. And in order for the computers to switch over to a safety stop mode, we needed to go down below 10 meters. So that was a little bit interesting as well. But also, yeah, that was the last one. And yet again, when we got up, we were starting to lose daylight pretty fast, and really cool weekend. And I'm looking forward to next Saturday when we're gonna do the final parts. But anyway, yeah, a little bit of I have actually done now 2 more investments in scuba gear for myself. You'll know that I have here the Aqualung i450T, which is a wrist-mounted little watch-style dive computer. And I actually bought this from a vendor in Italy, and it's the Aqualung sender unit. What's a sender unit? Well, the Aqualung i450T is actually an AI computer, or air integrated computer. So this one you put on the first stage on your regulator, and it will actually send wirelessly the air pressure or the tank pressure to the dive computer. So this is actually a sender unit. And what is good with these also is that it has a CE stamp for the European Union and so on, that it's approved, and also has the EN250 stamp, which is that it's from what I've been able to read, the EN250 marking means that it's cold water compatible, which is it's a plus, or rather it's very useful for us that live in the Nordic countries where we have colder water. And in that also, I just bought on eBay from the UK a guy that was selling a rig set from that I was actually into. I started to look at what would it cost me to buy a new set of regulators, or what would it cost me to buy a used set of regulators. And the pricing differences really told me that, well, I'm gonna go for a used set. But what to get, because there are so many different brands, markets, models, all types of stuff and so on. And I might be a little bit old school, but my philosophy is this is life support equipment, and I want something that is tried, true, tested, has stood the test of time, and really has a good following and so on. And also that I could actually be a little bit into a national market, so I could benefit, at least now since I bought used, I could benefit them with service costs and so on. So I thought I would go for a national brand. And again, I've talked about them before. Actually, it became, this is an old product sheet, advertising sheet for Poseidon Diving Systems from Gothenburg. And it was actually 2 of this type of regulator that I managed to snag on eBay with this type of setup. And let's see here. This the Poseidon Jetstream, and both the Jetstream first stage and second stage. So let's see a little bit of keep in mind I'm dyslexic, so if I'm stuttering a bit with reading this, I just keep in mind that I have a little bit of a writing difficulty. Poseidon Jetstream is extremely easy to breathe from at any depth. The Jetstream's ease of breathing and high flow rate helps the diver to conserve air and yet provides adequate airflow under the most demanding situations. The Jetstream second stage is very lightweight, which helps to reduce the jaw fatigue and maintain comfort. The Jetstream can be used from the right side or left. This feature eliminates the confusion when receiving a regulator or in an air-sharing situation. The Poseidon at Poseidon, our quality control is very strict. Nothing is left to chance. All of our regulators, inflators, and instruments, hoses are made from high-quality rubber, which will not stiffen in cold water, as do plastic hoses. Every hose is thoroughly tested, and the fittings are mounted to the hose in a way that greatly increases the life of the hose and eliminates leaks, premature wear, or unexpected rupture. The ergonomic hose configuration of the Jetstream first stage, together with the outstanding features of the second stage, provides the diver with a very adaptable and comfortable regulator of superior performance. The Jetstream is the regulator of choice for the Swedish Navy for 1992. Yeah, I think also some other navies around the world is actually using Poseidon, and when I've seen images from NASA's Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory, they actually also use this type of equipment. Let's see here what it says here. Well, there is a little bit of specifications here for the first stage and second stage. G5/8 O-ring sealed DIN connection. Yeah, so one thing that might be a little bit of a debate among scuba divers is the DIN versus yoke. Image of them here. So yeah, when I did this course, actually, we have mostly exclusively used DIN connectors. Well, I think they work, and whatever works, you should use. Well, here's a little bit of yes and no for the Jetstream. Servo-assisted valve with lightweight streamline design. Yes. Poppet valve with lightweight streamline design. No, that's for the Cyclone line. Made from high impact resistant ASA plastic. Yes. Non-corrosive material which provide greater resistance to aging and deterioration. Yes. Side exhaust design avoids disturbing or disruption of visibility and possible free flow while facing into a current. Yes. Configured for use with either right or left side for easy air sharing and greater adaptability. Yes. Airflow rate of 1,800 liters per minute. Yes. Airflow rate of 1,100 liters per minute. No. Inhalation effort max resistance 40 millimeter VP. And exhalation effort max resistance 20 mm VP. Well, that's a little bit of the information about the reg set I have been able to purchase. The only thing I know that I have to buy extra for this regulator set is a extra hose for the connection to a dry suit. But all in all, I think that for the price paid, and that the previous owner has recently serviced them is really a great deal to be made in my opinion. But as always, everybody has their own taste, and there is a literal forest of different makes, marks, models, and so on. So yeah, this is only what I was able to get at a fab good price. And if you're a scuba diver and have any information or thoughts about Poseidon dive gear, put it in the comment section below. I would rather want to hear your opinion about it. Exactly. And also I would well, when we are doing this type of journey, you're starting to look at YouTube with all of these videos and so on that people have taken during their scuba diving experiences, excursions, adventures. And I must say that I found two worthy contenders for the Darwin Awards, which goes back a little bit to my submechanophobia. But anyway, I will just put the links to these two videos in the description below, and I will just have to say that these divers really insanity. What made them able to try something stunts like these is way beyond my comprehension. But if you have any idea about it, put it in the comment section below. But anyway, as always, this is Tobias Bergström from T.B.Photo X1.5TFX, and I'd like to see you guys in the next video. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. So take care from now on. Bye.